Even royals nowadays know how to mix expensive items with the cheap ones, and overall they get really elegant looks. Today we will focus on makeup and find 5 makeup items to look expensive at a budget. For foundation, I would recommend a high-end one in order to get a perfect canvas, like you had tons of facials or hours of sleep. In my collection, I have this one that I really like for summer. That is a Tom Ford Glow Tone Up Foundation SPF 40, and it has a very nice finish. It is glowy, so the skin looks hydrated. It has a higher coverage compared to regular cushion foundations. Mine is in the shade 0.5 Porcelain, and it has a healthy glow look without covering too much, but just giving a uniformity to the skin. It's pretty fresh looking without looking cakey or heavy. I'm not sure if this foundation is still in production or it has been discontinued, but I have other options for you. Depending on the coverage you want, you can opt for the Koh Gen-do Aqua Foundation for the highest coverage, or the Sisley Cushion Foundation is another good one that can be a good alternative to the Tom Ford one. And the newest Chanel Le Beige Touche de Teint. After foundation, we need to perfect the complexion with concealer, and I would go for a mid-end concealer. There are plenty of good ones, so you don't need to spend high-end or luxury prices for a good concealer. My preference goes to the classical Tarte Shape Tape concealer, because I have a specific way to use it. I will show you in another video. But a newer alternative is the KVD Good Apple concealer for a full coverage. If you instead prefer a lighter coverage, then I would suggest the newest Saie concealer, Hydra Beam Brightening Plus Hydrating Under Eye Concealer. But another way to save money on concealer is to go to travel sizes. Then my pick would be the NARS Mini Radiant Creamy Concealer at $14. You can't beat that price, and you have a top-notch concealer. The third makeup item is powder. You can go cheap and get amazing results, and I would recommend a Chinese brand that is Flower Nose. This is one of the best powders on the market, and is the Flower Nose Circuit Powder Translucent. It's very blurring, so it doubles as finishing powder, but I merely use it as setting powder. I don't use finishing powder during summer because I like to have that natural glow without adding layers on my skin. And then the last 2 makeup items to look expensive on a budget are eyeshadow palettes, and there are 2 that I recommend. One for the mattes, and it's ColourPop Going Coconut or That's Taupe. I have That's Taupe because my preference is towards cooler tones, but if you like neutral, warmer tones, ColourPop Going Coconut is an amazing cheap alternative. ColourPop mattes are really nice. They last well, they blend quite well. I think that if you want to look expensive, you have to go for mattes or for the Super Shock Shadow finish. The shimmers by ColourPop, they look cheap in my opinion, so I would use the mattes. So choose whatever 9-pan ColourPop palette you like for the mattes. While for the shimmer, you need something higher end. And the strategic purchase that I recommend is the Pat McGrath Bridgerton 2 palette. I don't have that one because I have all the Pat McGrath big mothership palettes, and I think it's redundant in my collection. But if you have to start, then that is the palette I would recommend. And I will give you an example of a very similar shade that I found in the number 5 mothership palette, that is this one. And in the Bridgerton 2 palette, there's a rose gold with this baked formula that is really something expensive looking. I think you need a baked shade like this in your collection to really amp up your look. I will show you a swatch. You can't really tell on the swatch, and many people say that there are cheaper alternatives to this. I don't agree. To me, this formula can't be beaten, especially for matured eyelids. But not only for those, it's just that I'm really picky with the texture, and I think that you can't beat the texture of the Pat McGrath. I will show the proof of what I'm saying in a future video. I will compare it with the indie brands that are usually associated with Pat McGrath, but I will show you that they can't. So this is my recommendation. So you can go for a matte look with the ColourPop and then add this shimmer all over your lid. And these are the 5 makeup items I recommend. And all the other ones you can derive by these ones. For example, blush can be the Coral pen of the Bridgerton 2 palette, and also the highlighter can be the highlighting shade in that palette. So with just one palette you have your eyeshadow in a special formula that can't be duped, and also the blush and highlighter. So it's a really strategic purchase. Then for the bronzer you can opt for a drugstore one. So this would be the 6th item, but all the other items that I'm going to list now, they can be drugstore and no one will notice. The bronzer, I would recommend this one by L'Oreal or Physician Formula Butter Bronzer. For eye pencil or eyeliner, you also can go to drugstore. Whatever you want to pick. For mascara again, a drugstore mascara is perfectly fine. I'm pretty sure that you have your favorite already. And for lipstick, I would go for ColourPop because it has drugstore prices and really nice high-hand looking finishes. So ColourPop lipstick is a smart choice. So all in all, you really have to focus on a few high-end items, and I would say foundation and a Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette with those special shades, and I really recommend the Bridgerton 2 if you want to start. And you can go mid-end for concealer and powder, and the drugstore for all the rest. So be strategic. If you want to know more about makeup strategies, I really recommend this video here. So have a look at that and see you in that video. Bye!